6 days before, written by Jebodiaz Muadi. Something is about to happen. We need to get to higher ground. Luke, you're always the bearer of bad news. Then you wonder why people shy away from you. Answer me this, Robbie. Have I ever been wrong? Luke said confidently. Look, that's not what I'm saying. But you know, most people have a thing called a life. WKBRK News at 10. Today's top story. The reports of pole shifts are baseless according to top scientists. The African Rift massive crack that has been circulating is nothing more than conspiracy theorist and should be disregarded. Hello, Mom. Hey, how are you today? I'm great, and the reason for this call is that I have some bad news. Well, I have to get ready. I have some errands to run. Look, that report about the crack opening in Africa is real, but what they are not telling us is that the crack is linked to pole shifts. Look, I love you, but I just can't do this with you. If it is God's will, then there is nothing that we can do except pray. See, I disagree. God did not cause this. Humans caused this. I do believe that God is fed up with humans, though. Luke is a 35-year-old who works for FEMA, a social justice, equality, and environmental warrior. He is known as a very laid-back individual. However, he is always passionate when it comes to social issues, sometimes overly passionate. Yet all agree that he is honest and willing to help others. Hi, this is Luke Price, FEMA. Hi, Luke. This is Senator Carlton Wise. Thank you, Senator. I would like to set up a meeting with you. What's this all about, Luke? New York is a big state and never sleeps, so my time is limited. Well, I need to speak with you regarding your coastline, and I believe the sooner that we meet, the better. Before the senator had an opportunity to respond, a brief tremor took place. I almost lost you there, Luke. A tremor? Yes, we get those every now and again. I agree, Senator, but you are in New York, and the exact tremor just happened here as well. And I'm calling from California. Look, Luke, I know that your department provides an important service, but I am not about to start a statewide panic. Senator, the entire East Coast will be underwater. I am flying to New York because I have family in Connecticut. Luke, enjoy your family and have a good day, as the call ends. Luke, why are you flying out there? Can't you just have your family fly here? Gaia is married to Luke. She works for the Environmental Wildlife Conservation, and she teaches inner city kids at the community college. Luke, you haven't spoken to your family in years. You know that your mother and father will not come here. They will listen to that religion before they care about what you have to say. Gaia said with concern, I have to try. WKBRK News at 6. Today's top story is, what's going on with the billionaire divorce of the century? Will movie mogul Tyler Jetson and his estranged wife, model, and founder of It's a Woman's World. Page 1. Will there be a settlement, or will he have to share his $20 billion fortune? Tune in at 10 for updates. And in a separate story, 25,000 people evacuated from the Fiji Islands after a major storm. Luke, are you on the way? Robbie, I will be leaving in 5 minutes, but I need those seismic readings. All right, Luke, I can get those for you. I will meet you at gate 5. No problem. See you in a few. Luke picks up his carry bag and kisses Gaia goodbye. Governor Franks, hi, it's Senator Wise. Hey, Carlton, what can I do for you? Governor, I received a call from Mr. Price from FEMA yesterday, and he has some valid concerns. I believe that we should make some time for a sit down with him. You know, Carlton, we cannot feed this conspiracy. Look, we have our orders. Those orders come from the highest office in the country. So, the answer is no. I know you will meet with this Mr. Price. I understand, but just in case, Mr. Price will be flying to New York if you should change your mind. Hello, Debbie. Hi, sis. What's up? Luke just left for Connecticut, and I wanted to know if you were free for lunch. Sure. Is everything okay? Yes, I just have some concerns, and I wanted to discuss evacuation plans with you. You know I love you, sis, but do you really believe that this catastrophic event is going to happen today? I mean, the news is saying that there is nothing to worry about. Debbie, okay, sis, but you're paying for lunch. What time and where? Robbie over here. As Luke walks through the crowded airport, I think that you needed these. Robbie hands Luke a folder. Thanks, Robbie. Our flight is at the gate. The two make their way to the boarding gate. Mr. Price, Mr. Price. A loud voice in the distance now getting closer. The two men turn to look back. Mr. Price, my name is Agent Patton, and I'm from the Secret Service. As he flashes his credentials, I believe that your flight is to New York. Before Luke had a chance to respond, the agent handed him a form. Enjoy your trip, but under no circumstances are you allowed to contact or come into contact with Senator Wise or Governor Franks. The agent turns and walks away. This just got real. I know, Robbie, if you want to stay behind, I will understand. Now it makes sense, and that's your family, Luke. The two enter the plane and take their seats. These readings show seismic activity during the rainstorm that went through the Fiji Islands. Now, why was this information left out of the report? Remember when I said, now it makes sense? Well, take a look at this. When I went into your office to grab those readings, I found this by the fax machine. 4,000, Luke said with a look of shock. 4,000 people dead? Why is this being concealed? Luke, I think that they're going to just allow innocent people to die. Let's get your family out of there. And Luke, the office has already informed New York that you are not authorized to share these reports. I was about to tell you when the agent handed you the order of cease and desist. This is crazy. We know what's about to take place. They know that the entire East Coast will suffer. A voice coming from one of the passengers. The plane is going to crash. No. Robbie tells the passengers. We were only talking about a movie. Attention passengers, the plane is about to land. Luke, we need to grab something to eat before we head into Connecticut. Page 2. I was thinking the same thing myself. Hi, babe. We landed, and we're about to pick up a little something to eat. That's great, Luke. Me and Debbie had lunch earlier, and she thought that I was joking. I can only imagine what my family will say when I tell them. As they share a chuckle, my sister said that she and her family will begin packing, and when you get back, we can go from there. And Luke, good luck with your family. Thank you. Babe, I will call you as soon as we reach the hotel. WKBRK News at 6. Today is the third day of the $20 billion divorce, and things are finally heating up. We will have live coverage and responses by the fans who are intently following the drama. And in other news, the volcano on Mount Nubus is showing signs of activity. However, scientists are saying that this is normal and should subside. Today is also the day that McQuanksters will be revealing its new triple-decker sandwich. Mr. Price and Mr. Dial. Hello, Mr. Price. Welcome to the Blue Towers. Your room is 219 and Mr. Dial, your room is 217. The elevators are right over there. The restaurant is through those doors to the left. The men take their room cards and make their way to the elevators. Robbie, I'm going to make some calls, then get some rest for tomorrow. Cool, look, if you need to find me, I'll be downstairs in the lounge. Hello, Dad. Hi, son. Are you here? The caller ID has a Connecticut area code on it. Yes, Dad. The reason that I am calling is because I need to speak with you and the rest of the family. That's great. We can get together this weekend. No, Dad, I'm only here until 9 o'clock tomorrow. Is something wrong? Well, I would like to discuss that tomorrow with the family. Is Gaia with you? No, Dad, but my friend Robbie is with me. Okay, give me a call in the morning and I will see what I can do. Luke places the folders on the table and begins to look over the spreadsheets. Governor Franks, I just received a report from the civil engineer's office. Hello, Senator. I have the same report in front of me. Governor, that tremor caused more damage than we expected. They found severe cracks in the subways, and reports are coming in from the State Highway Commission. At least 9 of the major bridges have this same crackling. Look, Carlton, you have your clearance, don't you? For myself and my family, yes. Well, then stop worrying and make sure that you and your family get to the bunker. Yes, Governor, but I just feel like there is something that we can do now. Carlton, until something catastrophic happens, stay the course. Son. Yes, Dad. Son, your mom and I are home and Kevin and Cheryl will be here at 3 o'clock, but George can't make it. Okay, Dad. I will see you all then. Where are we heading? Robbie, we need to make a stop at the New Haven Public Library. We need to look at some of the older state maps. I also would like to put something out on social media. Look, if you do that, we won't have a job to return home to. If these historical events continue to be more frequent, we might not have a home to go back to. Page 3. WKBRK News at noon. The top story is claims of adultery and secret accounts. The billionaire's defense attorneys just dropped a bombshell. Tune in at 10 for all of the developments and gossip surrounding the case. Also, in the news, a Category 3 hurricane is heading for the Hawaiian Islands. Meteorologists say that there is no immediate need for cause, and that this hurricane will depreciate by the time it reaches landfall. The new sitcom Allie and Buckles the Dog will be starting its 3RD season. Be sure to tune in. Hi Mom, hi Dad. Luke shakes his father's hand and gives his mother a hug, as Kevin and Cheryl are seated on the sofa. Can I get you boys something to drink? As Mrs. Price walked into the kitchen. No Mom, I really need to speak with everyone. Luke and Robbie removed the spreadsheets from their binders and placed them on the dining room table. Look, there is no easy way to say this, so I will not beat around the bush. There is something coming, and it's not good. Son, your mother told me all about it, and we appreciate your concern. But the Lord has carried us this far, and we will place our trust in Him. Dad, with due respect, this is not from God. None of you can deny that 80-degree weather is normal. Son, we've had warm winters before, and that is normal. When is the last time any of you saw snow? So, it's been a few years. As Luke's father crosses his arms. The reality is that these weather patterns and earthquakes are happening around the world, are all connected in this earth as we know it. Soon will no longer be here as we know it. Cheryl stands up and says, See, Luke, you reject the scriptures, but you of all people know that our Lord is going to bring judgment upon the evildoers. And the scriptures say to count it all joy. We trust in the good book. Are you an evildoer? Dad, Mom, Kevin, are you all evildoers? Because if I am correct, everyone on this side of the country will be underwater. Luke, didn't you say something to Mom about a polar shift? That's not something a man can do. So even you must admit that much. Kevin, there is a progression that takes place. The earth offers clues, like the events that we are experiencing now. However, this progression has been sped up by human intervention. Do you have any idea of what a pole shift is? It means that Connecticut might end up in China in England. And to answer your question, Cheryl, the evilest people will survive this because they have bunkers, and we do not. Robbie points to the map of the East Coast dating back to 1906, then he points to the map of the present day. As you can see, Mr. Price, your son and I have gone over these calculations. This coastline has been in decline for years. What this means is that with each storm, or even rainfall, the damage alone will compete with the destruction of a Category 3 hurricane. Well, you said it yourself. Declining coastlines are normal, Mr. Price said with optimism. Then Robbie pointed to a map from 2015. The map from 1906 to 2015 is a gradual decline. Now look at the decline from 2015 to present day. I'm still at a loss here. Okay, there is a decline, and this weather is a little unstable. What is it that you want us to do? Mr. Price looks over to his son. Page 4. Dad, everyone, when Robbie and I return back to California, we are taking our families and anyone else willing to take the journey to Montana. Montana, do you honestly think that I am going to uproot your mother, then convince my children to uproot their families? Because you are making this claim? Mom, Dad, Kevin, Cheryl, and George. If you stay, I cannot promise you that you will survive. This is your only window. Luke, a tornado just touched down in Vermont. The report is that it made its way through several towns. No word as to damage or if there were any casualties. Robbie hands Luke his phone. Son, I need to consult the pastor, and I am leaving it up to the kids to make their decision. That's all that I can ask, Dad. I need to stop by the hospital to see an old friend, so we will be back at 6 p.m. You are a little early. Service doesn't start until 7 p.m. The pastor is a short, stocky man and talks with a lisp. Pastor, if you have a minute, me and my wife would like a word with you. Yes, George, my door is always open for you and your family. Is everything okay? Are the kids okay? Yes, Pastor. It's just that my son is here from California, and he believes that we are all in danger. What kind of danger? The pastor asked in concern. My son has reason to believe that the East Coast will be underwater, and that the next major weather event might be the worst this world has ever seen. Well, you know Mr. and Mrs. Price. The good book talks about floods, famine, and other events. But the good book also tells us the Lord will protect and deliver his people. I know that pastor, and Mrs. Price added him in. So, I'm still wondering how this revelation from your son involves the church. Pastor, my son, is asking us to move our family to his cabin in the hills of Montana. Leave? George, your family has been a part of this parish since you and Mrs. Price were children. Your children were baptized by me. Have you lost faith? Mrs. Price answered, No, Pastor. I said to my husband that I am not leaving this church. Mr. Price, listen to your wife. She is placing her safety and the safety of the family in God's hands, and I agree with her. Yes, I'm looking for Nurse Hadley. Are you a relative? The woman at the information desk asked. No, actually, I'm a friend, and I am visiting from California. Name, please? Luke Price. Hi, Nurse Hadley. This is the info desk, and there are 2 men here to see you. A Mr. Price. Mr. Price, Nurse Hadley said that she will meet you in the cafeteria, down the corridor. Just follow the yellow line until you reach the double doors. Luke, Nurse Hadley offers a hug. What brought you home the last time I saw you? You said that you would never return. There is a serious matter that has to be addressed with my family, and now you. You're too late for a marriage, Nurse Hadley said with a smirk. Mindy, there is an imminent event coming, and this event will be catastrophic. And where are you getting your information from? Look, I know that my agency isn't putting it out there, but this is real, and the powers that be have no intent on informing the public. Page 5. Look, you were always with the conspiracy theory. You look too deeply into the events around you, even too busy to know how I felt about you when we were growing up. Robbie walks over with 3 coffees. Robbie, this is Nurse Mindy Hadley. She was my best friend growing up, as Luke gives Mindy a stare. Robbie, can you fill her in on what we've got? Hi, Mindy. What Luke is telling you is true. The only people on the East Coast that will have half a chance are people that live on the highest of mountains. Those in low-lying areas, their chances will be slim. Mindy, if you want to save yourself and your family, you will need to get to higher ground. Mindy smiled at Luke and said, You have always been a jokester. I'm off at 10. But give me a call if you guys would like to meet up for a drink. The ride to Luke's parents' home was solemn. Luke, are you having second thoughts about traveling here? I mean, you said it yourself on the plane. What do you think that your family will do? Will they leave? Robbie, Luke, that look says it all. Son, your mother and I are putting our trust in the good book. Dad, I'm not telling you that any of you have to put down the book, or what you believe. I would never do that. What I am attempting to do is save my family from an unavoidable event. This is serious, Dad. We know that you love us, and we will pray for you. Luke gives his mother a hug and places a kiss on his mother's cheek. I love you both, and tell the family that should anyone change their minds, the door is open. Hi, babe. Hi, sweetheart. I wanted to call, but I figured that you needed to focus on your family. How'd things go? Babe, my family decided to remain in Connecticut. Aw, I'm so sorry, honey. Maybe they will change their minds. Gaia, Robbie, and I are getting ready to board the plane. We should be arriving at 5 a.m. Sure thing, honey. I will be there. Have a safe flight, and I will see you soon. I love you. Love you too, babe. This is your captain. Passenger, we are experiencing air quality issues and will detour via Nevada. For the passengers with flights to Washington State, due to wildfires, alternate transportation will be provided. Free of charge. Sorry for the delay. Robbie, when we land, we need to get everyone who is leaving with us together. Why? I thought that we still had some time. Robbie, the air quality, and the wildfires are spreading. Between the people evacuating the area with the delays in flights, the highways will be at a standstill. The last thing that we need is to get trapped on a highway. I'm going to try to get some shut-eye before we land. Gaia should be at the entrance of the terminal. Mr. Price and Mr. Dial. Agent Patton, and there were 2 more agents with him. Come with us, Agent Patton commanded with authority. Gaia is standing by the terminal as the two men are being escorted by the agents. What is this? Honey, what's happening? Who are these men? Miss, you're going to need to stand back. These men are being detained. Page 6. The agents escorted the two men into a secured area within the airport. Gaia stood by the secured doors, attempting to find anyone who could provide some answers. Luke and Robbie were brought into a small room with a table and no chairs. A camera sat above the door. On the table, there were two manila envelopes with a small photo of each man, paperclipped to each folder. The two men left in the room staring at the folders in confusion, because the two folders were on the table when the men entered the room. 15 minutes later, Agent Patton walked in and picked up the envelopes, handing them to the men. Agent, this is my fault. Robbie has nothing under. Shut up and open the folder, the agent demanded. I handed you an order to cease and desist, which means cease. Robbie chimed in and said, for trying to save his family? Look, if it were up to me, neither of you two would be standing here, and instead of your wife standing outside of those doors, she would be here to pick up your remains if any remains could be found. The two men now realizing that they were in uncharted waters. Mr. Price, do you recognize this? Yes, but? Mr. Price, you placed this post onto the internet after the order was handed to you. Did you not? Agent, I said nothing wrong in that post. I only left a list of early signs of events and what to do if a person finds themselves in each situation. The agency was alerted because of complaints made by the social media community. It appears the people that you are trying to save don't want to be saved. You see, gentlemen, the people are too caught up in current events. The new car, the house on the hill, the hot chicks on social media. We offered a better way, and they rejected it. They are unwilling to work together. In fact, Mr. Price, instead of taking your advice, the people asked that you be removed from access to social media. What do you plan to do with us? Robbie's palms sweating profusely. Luke has a blank stare. Gentlemen, this is your one and only out. If you both will review the stapled documents with the folders, there should be your personal IDs attached to them. The document reads, Mr. Dial has been issued access to the secured bunker. Mr. Dial and 4 civilians are authorized access. Lodi, California, signed by the Governor of California. Luke's documents read the same. Agent, what is this? Luke is still confused. After review, the agency has found that you are an asset. Our scientists around the world are working on a timeline for the event of the pole shift. You and Mr. Dial figured this out without access to top secret information. Now that you have been granted entrance into the Lodi bunker facility, take advantage of it now. Gentlemen, you are free to leave. The agent walks out of the room and the men follow. As the men are being led to retrieve their property, Robbie has a question for the agent. Page 7. Agent Patton, sir, excuse me, but you never gave us any conditions. The agent responded, why? Would you like conditions? I just thought that maybe you would ask us to keep this quiet. The agent responded, gentlemen, there are no conditions, and you are free to go. But I will give you some advice. Go home and pack your things. Mr. Price? Yes, agent. Why did your family not accompany you? Don't answer that. Have a good day. Relieved and tired, the two men make their way back to main corridor. Guy is standing beside Sarah Dale. Why did they take you? I called Sarah because no one would tell me what was happening. Babe, we need to go now. We are leaving, right? Do they still need to speak with you? No, honey. We are leaving for Montana today. Look, but we have access to the bunker. Robbie, what about your parents, your wife, your family? Debbie has 4 children, and then there's Gaia's parents and family. I'm not leaving anyone behind. Robbie agreed. WKBRK News at noon. Today's top story. A settlement has been reached in the high-profile $20 billion divorce case. Tune in at 10 for details and some reactions from fans and followers of this case. How to start your very own indoor garden. Florist Jill Banks will be here to show you exactly what you will need. Tune in. In other news, the state of New York has reported that birds are no longer flying over New York. Scientists believe that this migration is due to unusually warm weather for January, and that there is nothing to worry about. And to end on a good note, McQuankster's triple-decker sandwich has now sold over 1 million burgers in its first week. Mom, Dad, we need everyone to meet at our place tomorrow morning, Gaia said in a reassuring voice. Robbie and Sarah contacted their families. On the way home, birds were now falling from the sky. People were standing on the streets taking selfies and posting content on what they believed to be the cause. Some are praying in the streets and others walk and text. Great, everyone is here, and we are only waiting for Debbie and the kids. Gaia said that she should be here soon. Luke now assigns maps for the drivers of each vehicle. Debbie arrives and Poodles runs over and begins to run in circles. Poodles, get back in the car, Debbie shouted. I had to pick her up from the vet. Sorry we're late. We will gas up at the station by the I-5 on-ramp. Gaia and I will fill gas cans since we need a vehicle that can hold extra fuel, just in case. They arrive at the station and the kids run inside to grab some snacks. WKBRK News Special Report. Reports of dying birds are flooding social media. Reports say that birds around the world have been falling from the skies. Scientists are baffled. However, they say that there is nothing to worry about. Scientists are saying that people should not pick the dead birds up with their hands. Just in, whales have been found beached on the Puget Sound in Washington. Over 100 whales have beached themselves. We will have an update at noon. Hi, Dad. Hello, Luke. Dad, we are leaving to Montana. Page 8. And I am asking you and the family to reconsider. Son, we have made our decision, and we appreciate what you have done. Dad, it's going to take us about 20 hours to get there, and I have no idea when the airport will be shutting down. Please, Dad. I will give the kids a call after I hang up with you. Thank you, Dad. I will call you back as soon as we reach the cabin. The group reached Route U.S. 50 and the smoke from the wildfires began to permeate through the vehicles. WRUOK News. Cell phone towers have shut down cell phone service after the communications satellite crashed into the Pacific Ocean. No one was injured, and cell phone service is being redirected through Russian communications. The United Nations has ordered an emergency meeting via conference call to all world leaders. Tune in as reports develop. 5 miles to go. Luke felt relief as highways were closing due to rock slides. Gaia, when we get there, bring everyone into the food storage. There's not enough room down there, Luke. Me and Robbie will move some of the equipment into the cabin. We'll make enough room. But why, Luke? We should be okay at this height. Gaia concerned. Babe, when the tilt happens, the entire oceans will move. Mountains will crumble, earthquakes will happen, and fires will burn out of control. Underground is the safest place to be. The families arrive at the cabin. Gaia accompanies everyone to the underground food storage. Robbie and Luke are carrying equipment into the cabin as a loud, thunderous sound is made. A sound that engulfed the entire sky. The ground began to shake violently. Luke and Robbie dropped what they had in their hands and ran to the storage. Mom, where's Dad? You need to find safety. Did you at least get to higher ground? The phone went silent. Gaia put her arms around Luke, knowing this would be the last time that he would hear his mother's voice. Luke had no time for tears because the people in that storage were relying on him to keep them safe. WRUOK News. Major earthquake on the African Rift. The African continent has split in half. There is a state of emergency for the entire world. Fine, Shell, the phone went silent, this time for good. The earth was shaking violently, and boulders began to roll down the mountains, sounding as if there was a war taking place above their heads. The women were comforting the children because there was no avoiding the tragic situation they all were in. There was no rest because the movement of the earth was continuous. The sounds were as if someone was hitting the earth with a hammer, and everyone could feel it. Luke knew that if this was what they were experiencing, he also had to accept. His family's chances were far less. Luke, I think it stopped, Robbie said with hope. Can you feel that? Yes, I do. What is that? Water, Luke exclaimed. Page 9. The water was rushing all around them, as if they were no longer on a mountain, but on a ship, in the middle of the ocean. It was all around them. What felt like days were only hours. The thrashing lasted for days, and then all that was heard was fire crackling and rushing water. The storage room filled with a stench of perspiration and human waste. Luke understood that the bags that were used for human waste had to be removed if they were to survive another day. Robbie, I am going to open this door because I need to get rid of those bags. I need for you to lock the door behind me. Are you sure, Luke? Luke opened the door and Robbie locked the door behind him. Luke then made his way up to the outside door that accessed the storage. The door wouldn't budge, and some water seeped in through the crack. As the water seeped in, the door began to loosen. Tree branches were covering the door, so Luke took the metal crossbar and jimmied the door until he could fit through the opening. The cabin was leveled, and the vehicles scattered about and flipped. Debbie's SUV was stuck between two trees about 70 feet in the air. As Luke observed the area, he immediately walked over to where the front of the cabin used to be. The front of the cabin had a view of the surrounding valleys, and on a clear day, the surrounding states were visible. Luke standing alone, his hands he raised to place atop his head. There was no way for him to process what he is witnessing. There are no words to describe this scene. Emotionless, Luke stands frozen. Robbie, I have to get out there, Gaia said in a panic. Robbie goes to the second door. Look, Luke, are you okay? What's going on out there? No answer. Robbie walks back inside. Okay, I need Gaia, Sarah, and Debbie to come with me. Gaia's parents stayed with the children as the four took hold of the waste bags and made their way up. The cabin is gone. The vehicles are everywhere, Gaia said in disbelief. Still no sign of Luke and no response. Sarah spots Luke standing alone overlooking the mountain, unaware of what they are about to embark upon. Luke, I'm glad that you're okay. Why didn't you answer? As they approached Luke, everything went silent, and they all stood in wonder, all five looking in the same direction, emotionless and silent. The valley was an ocean as far as the eye could see. There were mountains that peaked above the water, but those peaks were far and few. Some of the peaks' trees were burning. The volcano on Mount Nubus had erupted and lava could be seen coming out of its summit. No birds, no animals could be heard. Then snow began to fall. Page 10.